I love Matthew chapter 5. It is the Sermon on the Mount, and Jesus Christ is preaching, and he lays out these Christ-like characteristics, being a peacemaker, being pure in heart, being there for people. In verse 16 of chapter 5, he talks about light. All these characteristics contribute to our light. It doesn't mean that I'm going to have all of them mastered. Maybe I fall short in on X, Y, or Z, but maybe there's a fight. I try my best to make sure that it ends smoothly or there's a resolution or what have you. I try to make sure that everything is peaceful. Well, I did that right. It doesn't mean I do everything else perfectly, but it's those things that we have that contribute to our light and to who we are as an individual. You have strengths, I have weaknesses, and you have weaknesses. But we all have something to give. That's what makes our lights unique. And your light can contribute to making someone else's life better. And the same thing for mine. It's all a choice. We can choose to over-index on the negative, or we can choose to rise above that and become something better and leverage our talents, our time, and our energy to doing good things and doing the right things. I'm surely not perfect at it, but just recognizing your strengths and understanding that you as an individual have worth, that is inspiring. I just think it breaks my heart when somebody goes through life thinking they can't do anything that is good or that they're valueless. Like, that is so sad to me, and that's one of the things about God's plan that I find so relieving is this earthly state will have pitfalls. It will have the hard times. It will have pain, but because of that, you have the capacity to feel joy. How grateful am I for that message?
Yeah, I think gratitude's one of those things where like that outside of religion like doesn't matter. I feel like it's pretty common understanding that it just helps you enjoy life more. It's like you said it gives you purpose and I'm sure it can. It just makes you more happy to be alive regardless. Because it's just so easy to get bogged down. It's so easy to think, oh, everything, all the bad in the world, like you can number it for days, but there's good in the world. And I choose to believe there's more good than bad. I really do believe that there is more good in the world than there is bad.
It's the heads and tails coin flip. You can't have heads if there's no tails. You can't
Yeah.
have joy if there's no sorrow, right? It doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to eradicate those negative events, but it does mean that they make the joyful ones that much more meaningful to us. You know, a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts or because it always happens. That's what makes those special things in life so amazing. So if our lives were just saturated with sunshine and rainbows all the time, we eventually wouldn't know why they're so beautiful, right?
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that like everything good has to end.
Right.
Even if you see it all the time, that doesn't mean you can't enjoy it as you enjoyed it the first time you experienced it
Right.
years or like like a lot of repetition later. It's just it takes a moment to have some introspection and think about it and be like, I'm glad I have this.
Mhm.
Because not everybody does. Or like even taking out the comparing aspect, be like, I get this every day and it's a peaceful part of my day.
Right. I choose to believe that it's part of God's plan, that while it won't always be easy, move on and learn and grow and figure out what ways you need to improve, but don't over-index on them. Facilitate your strengths and your talents, and that will lead you to a joyful life.
Yeah, there's a guy named Gary Vee. He's like a motivational speaker, business guy.
Mhm.
He said something that I think the principle I think is just interesting. He's like, lots of people say, focus on the things you're bad at and make them better. Like, focus on your weaknesses and make them strengths. He's like, why don't you make your strengths super strengths or something like that along those lines? And I think that's a great thought to have sometimes.
Yeah.
Where it's like double down on the things you're good at. Get really good at something. Not only can you help somebody with that, but that's empowering. Just to be really good at something. Focus on your strengths
Right.
and be like, it's not a bad thing to emphasize on the things you're good at
Well, it's just
and play to your strengths.
make your blessings other people's blessing. And then that's the biggest blessing of all. I'll speak for myself. There's nothing more rewarding than when I go out and regardless of what happened during that day, I know I was able to be of service to somebody. That's why I'm so passionate about that stuff is because that's what brings me the most joy in life. right? That was the inspiration for this whole channel, wanting to make the world a better place because it can be defeating to look at the world sometimes, you know? And it's like you said earlier, it doesn't mean that there's not good, but there's a lot of bad also, right? We could all, there's, the world is never bright enough for us to not try to make it brighter. That doesn't mean you have to shine the fog light on it all the time. Sometimes it's just light the match,
Yeah.
you know? And then before you know it, the firework goes off, right? And so it's just never underestimate the value of trying to do something that brings value into the world